What's up, everybody? This is part 2 of our BFS series. Obviously, we couldn't get to all the rods the first time around. One of them was missing. That was highly sought. BFS rod, highly sought after. This one's become a very popular one for us here. This is the Cashion BFS rod. This rod in particular is a 7-foot light. So it's fast action, light power, 2 to 8 pound test. It's so weird in a bait caster to pick these things up. It does sort of feel like a spinning rod blank. It feels really, really fast with just line on it, just bending it with my hand with a line here. We do have this little BFS reel on it, trying to keep it as legit as possible for the bend. And we're going to be tossing some of these around. So if we get some footage of that, we'll stick that in here too. But we've been playing with a lot of BFS rods here. It's a controversial topic here at Omnia. So I wouldn't call any of us here experts in it by any means, by a long shot, but we're all starting to mess around with it a little bit more. And honestly, I think most of us kind of had the feeling like this wasn't something that was going to stick long term. And now all of us kind of own something along the lines of BFS setups, and we just have a blast with it. Honestly, it's just an insanely fun way to fish. You stop overthinking it, it actually becomes quite a fun way to go fishing, which is sort of important these days, isn't it? So this is the Cashion BFS 7-foot light fast. Came in at 3.9 ounces. If you're not familiar with Cashion, these guys are out of the Carolinas. This is made in the USA stuff. Dr. Matt Cashion, I believe his name is, developed the blank technology, developed the machinery and everything to build these blanks in-house in the United States. So these are their proprietary blanks. They build these things. These are their proprietary little carbon handles and everything as well. They're growing in popularity with us here. I know they're already super popular for all you people on the East Coast there, but they do deserve more attention nationally. This is a really nice rod brand here. These guys make some cool stuff, and their actions are great, and the rods feel a lot better. I own a few of the spinning rods in this Icon series, and I absolutely love them. So check out Icon, and let's go bend their BFS rod, the 7-foot light fast. Okay, 7-foot light fast, Icon BFS rod, and I'm going to tell you right now, I was a little worried about that as I was playing with it. It's insane how different it is on the bend on the wall than it is with just your line on it. It feels a lot more moderate than fast. Now, if I'm imparting action on just the bait itself, like if I was throwing like a tiny top water or a little jerk bait, or wanting to shake like a, I don't know, shaky head or Ned rig or something along the finesse line, a Nico rig or something like that, it is a little faster than it looks. I'm putting a little bit more pressure on it than it probably looks like. I don't know. It does want to pull back in that top third of the rod, but as soon as you put some power on it, you get into a nice moderate, parabolic power of the blank here, the backbone of the blank. So I would call it mod fast, to be honest with you, rather than fast. But because it certainly is moderate as soon as you put some leverage on it. Why I find that okay is it's confidence inspiring in me to run really light line. I think I got 6-pound test on this right now, and I'm kind of giving it to it, and it's really distributing the pressure on the line very nicely. I feel like if you're going to run some really light line or leader material on braid, this would be a great rod for that, because it does have some action up there in the top that you could impart action on your bait, but you certainly could lean into them a little bit, put a little pressure on them. So cool rod here from Cashion. So far, this one's up there on my list. All right, next up, this is the one that was honestly highly sought after. We had a lot of customers asking us about this one. They're calling it the Vertical Master. This is a BFS rod designed for BFS fishing by Daiwa. This is in the PX series. If any of you are familiar with any of the old JDM stuff, the Pixie, when it came in the States, there was never a rod line that I'm aware of that was with the Pixies, but call me wrong on here if you can. There's a whole bunch of rods that worked with it in the JDM market for BFS for a long time ago, but this is a PX version of a BFS rod that they made. It features their X45 blank technology, which is some of their nicer blank technology. I will say, putting the line on it, this thing feels absolutely wild, like quick tip like. And that's what I've found my confidence in so far with spinning rods on scoping fishing and these strolling techniques, is having that solid tip. so I could get into backbone quickly, but I had that light little tip to play with the baits and shake them and things like that, and not move them in the water column too much. So got it paired up beautifully here with the PX BFS reel from Daiwa. So we're going to go bend this one. This one came in at 3.7 ounces. I will say that's super light, but it feels even lighter in hand. The balance is perfect. Obviously, this thing's pretty small, so it feels like nothing in your hand. It feels like a little weapon. So excited to go bend this one, the PX 6.8. This one here is a light power, extra fast action. And I tell you what, extra fast is an exaggeration. I think we're going to find out on the wall here. This thing feels like one of the faster solid tips I've played with. Okay, here we are, PX 6.8. Light, extra fast. This thing is super extra fast, by the way. The tip is insane on this thing. It doesn't indicate that it's a solid tip, like I just stated. I think I can just call it a stinger tip. But I'm going to tell you right now, it absolutely acts like one. It's got way more backbone than the previous rod I bent in the top section. About the same amount of power, but it's much faster action. If you are looking to maybe, I don't know, that's actually kind of exactly what they call for vertical fishing. If you're looking to set the hook maybe in some deep water or even a bottom contact rod a little bit with BFS, this would be ideal. If maybe you're fishing a bait like just outside of that bottom contact or BFS world, like sizing wise, maybe a decent sized little popper or something like that with some decent sized treble hooks, this would be a good rod for that. This one definitely, to me, feels like more of a traditional rod, just in a super, super light power. I'm talking about being able to use traditional baits. Obviously, this tip is wildly light enough to throw any BFS lure, but you kind of get a little bit of a bottom contact-ish type backbone if you lean into them. So straight braiding on this thing or straight fluoroing on it. I'm not trusting a little knot with 4-pound test leader material and a leader with this one. It's actually does shut off. I mean, if you really pull into it, as you can imagine, it's light power, you're going to get way back into the backbone. But I'm telling you right now, this thing has got a wildly fast action. So check out this one, the PX 6.8 light extra fast. All right, back with number 3. This is the final one in this little roundup of round 2 of BFS rods. And this one was the one I was referring to that got the most chat. Why didn't we do the Cliffhanger from the X10? This is a 6.5 light power fast action Cliffhanger in the X10 Orochi lineup. So the new Orochi rods. And yeah, if you look on here, we have the new Bates Hundo LTS BFS reel on this thing. And this is a really, really nice set. I have no desire to own rods like this, the BFS style rods. Like, I'm not like into them big time or anything like that. I want this, like we've all been playing this thing a whole bunch. It's pretty sweet. This whole setup, this whole get up here is absolutely awesome. I can't wait to go bend this thing. I haven't weighed it yet, so I'll get you a weight over here when we get over to the wall. But once again, like the PX rod, this thing feels like almost like a solid tip rod. It feels that way anyway. It doesn't indicate it that, right? As of right now, I'm not reading anything saying it's a solid tip, but feels like it with a line on it. But won't know till we go bend it on the wall. I'll be right back with a weight and a bend test. Okay, here we are with that Orochi X10 and the Cliffhanger 6.5 light power fast action. This thing came in at 3.8 ounces. So apparently in the BFS world, about 3.7 to 4 ounces is the weight there. This one is definitely more fast action, maybe mod fast even, compared to the PX. Had a much more, they felt similar with a line on them, just bending them, just holding them in your hand. But on the wall here, that PX has a lot more tip, way out to the front tip action than this one does. This one's more traditional fast action, I would say. You really get into it, just like the rest of the light power, it's going to climb past that tip into the backbone there. But I'd say fast action, actually, the more I bend it. It does want to stay up there in the top section of the rod. It's short and small, though, and this reel is insane. It's so tiny. It's like hanging onto a little BFS reel. Imagine that. A very interesting one here. I'm going to go tie baits on this one and throw it around, mostly because I really definitely want to try this reel out, and this rod feels incredible. So if you're into more of a high-end BFS rod, this thing feels incredible in hand. This one feels a little bit more versatile than the previous model did, where that one was more, I think, more of a bottom contact or vertical fishing rod. This one would definitely, you could do all sorts of stuff with it. It feels about the same amount of power as the other ones, maybe a touch lighter, to be honest with you, than the Cashion or the Daiwa, but still really, really nice. Man, if you're into this BFS stuff, we got some good options for you here. This one here was the Megabass Orochi X10 Cliffhanger.